Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Z. I am the founder slash lead developer at Cozy Cube Games. I have been hi. Yeah, I've been working on games for quite a long time. I'm currently working on my own indie VR game called Penguin Festival. This one, and you can find it on Steam. You can wishlist. So this isn't really going to be much of a talk about like a topic. It's just since this is a jam, I want to share just like my own repository of add-ons for Godot users, in case any of you find it helpful in your Godot jam. Uh, yeah, so let's get right into it. Actually, you know what? Before I start, I should say these add-ons are made specifically for my own project, and as such, like I don't have full-time. Um, I'm not maintaining them full-time as like add-ons as like a side gig or anything. Like this is just internal use, but I share them publicly because they're easy to share. And yeah, so just use them. They're pretty stable. They're checked for functionality in the latest stable version of Godot, which is 4.4.1 stable as of today. 4.5 is coming out very soon, so I will be updating it for that when it does come out. Yeah, I guess I'll start off with like the most popular one, I suppose, and then after that I'll go in alphabetical order. But first off, we have lines and trails. So this is like 3D lines and trails. So this is pretty much like one of the biggest missing things from Godot right now is that, especially if you're coming from other engines like Unity or Unreal, um, Godot does not have built-in support for like just rendering 3D lines that are properly billboarded or leave trails or anything. So I have this add-on called Lines and Trails 3D, and it pretty much like gives you everything that Unity has and probably more, except for like corner rounding. So that's like one thing that I don't have. Um, but it has like different texture tile modes. It has trails. It also has like different limit modes, so you can limit by time or by distance. It also has like different ways of leaving the texture behind, so it can stay still in the world or it can follow, the lead of the trail. You can also have like non-billboarded trails so that it doesn't just follow the camera, it follows, however it was left in the 3D world. Yeah, so there's like an example scene for most of these. I will put the link up in the chat. Actually, I can do that right now. Here you go. And at any point during the jam over this next month, I usually don't support these at all. I don't like help people with them, but I'll make an exception for Winnipeg, of course. So for this jam, if you have any questions about how to use any of these, just like, tag me in the chat and I'll try and help out and clarify anything. Let's see here. Yeah, so that was pretty much like the most popular one. I say popular because it's been used in quite a few projects, including like the game that's being made by the Blender game studio, the really cute one with where you walk the dog through the park and stuff. Um, yeah, so the next one is area lights. So this is for baked lighting. So you can basically make surfaces that emit light, and yeah, it just looks really nice. Um, this the reason why I made this is because this is what the built-in solution looks like in Godot, where you just mark a specific surface as being emissive, and then it just like ends up looking all blotchy, even on very high quality settings. So this method that I have here, it pretty much just spawns like a whole bunch of spotlights instead of emitting directly from the surface. So it's kind of like fake, but this gives you some advantages though, like artistic freedom. So based on how you tweak the settings of the lights, you can make it look like, it's like a very glowy panel on the ceiling. You can make it look like it's a hole through which light comes through, or you can make it look like, a floodlight like this. You can get pretty creative with it as well. So here I have like 3 of them lined up around the object, so it pretty much looks like it's a glowing ring. So yeah, there's all these things that you can do with it. And this is all baked, so it's not like runtime. It doesn't have any like performance overhead. Um, yeah, so that's area lights. Next one is control proxies. Okay, so control proxies are basically a way for you to take any 2D control in Godot and make them appear on a 3D plane, or in this case, like rounded 3D panels. You can see here in the 2D view, whoops, yeah, so you see I have controls here that are in 2D. And what control proxies let you do is they let you just reference the 2D control, and they would just automatically make it into 3D. And so I select the button over here and go back to the 3D view. You can see like this is a button. So as I type the text, it automatically updates the mesh for the 3D version of that control. And yeah, if you select the 3D one, you can also change its corner radius and stuff like that, and the thickness, corner segments, etc. So anyway, that's control proxy. Oh, it also allows you to pipe events into it. So like if you have like a 3D cursor or like a ball in the 3D world and it hits that button, you can actually send that message as a mouse click event to the 2D control so that it will actually do what that button does in 2D, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's that one. And okay, doodle texture. Doodle texture is for if you want to really quickly test out like a texture without going into like, your image editing program and saving it off and coming back to Godot to look at what it looks like. So I'll just give you an example here. If I select the canopy fabric material here, I can set the texture to a new doodle texture. And if I right click on this, I can click edit. And now I'm in this like specific texture editing inspector. So I can change the background color to say orange, set the foreground color to let's say yellow. I can set clear. And then when I left click here, it draws stuff. When I right click, it erases. Or I can just, clear. I can swap the foreground and background colors. So I just draw a really quick Triforce. And you can see it just automatically updates it like that. And this also works in real time. So yeah, this is doodle texture, just very quick prototyping sort of utility. You can use it to draw signs and things like that. Yeah, so that's doodle texture. Just undo all of that. And next, editor relays. Okay, this one's a bit advanced, but basically editor relays allow you to communicate between the game that you're running and the editor. So let me just run the game so you guys can see. Yeah, minimize editor. So I can click this button from my game and it will actually send a message to the editor to close it. Yeah, so restore, minimize, maximize, things like that. And it can also, if I resize the editor, you can see it actually like sends the size of it to the running game so the game actually knows. Yeah, so it's basically two-way communication. And I can show you like a very advanced use case of it where, I'm just, I made like a live editor, so I can control the editor from the game. So it's back and forth communication. It's sending like the texture from the editor into the game, and it's sending inputs from the game into the editor. So that's like an advanced use case. Next is Gizmo presets. Okay, so Godot has this limitation where Okay, so gizmos. You can show certain gizmos, you can hide them. So for example, like light gizmos, let me see here. What's a good thing to show? Okay, so marker 3D, for example, you have to go here, go all the way to marker 3D, and you have to hide it. And it's like 3 different states that you have to toggle through. Unlike in Unity, you can't just like go to the inspector and select an object and hide its gizmo from there. You have to go through this menu every single time. And all of these preferences will reset randomly sometimes, especially when you like reload your project and stuff like that. When you want to make a new scene, you have to like set all of these over and over. Um, so I made this plugin which allows you to basically save and load different presets. So you just customize this however you want one time, and you can save it as like whatever you want, some kind of name, right? So I have here saved 3 different presets: levels, props, and minimal. And I can basically apply that whenever I want. So for levels, I have the navigation gizmo showing, I have paths showing and stuff like that. But for props, I will have collision, um, and I will have collision and skeletons, for example. So yeah, you can just apply them just like that. Yeah, next one, light shafts. Okay, let me just make sure everything's okay. Everything's okay? Have I lost anyone? Or it's all good? Okay, cool. All right. All right, light shafts. How am I doing on time, by the way? Am I like way over? Okay. Okay, great. All right. So next is light shafts. So I have this plugin here that allows you to just create light shafts like this. It's kind of like just a fake effect. It's not using any post-processing. It's just a mesh. So there you go. Basically, you can have an outline, which is a Path 3D node, and you can, edit the contour of this light shaft however you want. And there's also an origin node, which allows you to kind of adjust like where is the light coming from, right? So based on those 2 pieces of information, it'll just generate this mesh for you. And let's see here, you can also control whether or not it has any spread. So if it's like a directional light, you don't want it to spread at all. You can also change the length. You can change, the tiling on it if you want. You can change the color. Yeah, you can also give it like a custom material if you really want to. Yeah, that's that. Let's see. Next one. Okay, we already did lines and trails. Manual multi-mesh examples here. Okay, so this is, this only makes sense if you already know what a multi-mesh is. Basically, a multi-mesh is the only way to guarantee that you can draw a whole bunch of identical objects with the same material with only one draw call. If that doesn't make sense to you, this plugin will be pretty useless to you. But if you do know what a multi-mesh is, you would know that in Godot, you can't actually like manually like specify where these instances are except like with code, right? So you can't just be like, okay, I want one tree here, I want one tree over there and stuff like that, and have them all just batched together. And also, unlike what some people will tell you, this is not automatically done by Godot if you just use mesh instances. That only applies to certain renderers, not the compatibility renderer, for example, or I think even mobile. But anyway, yeah, so this plugin allows you to just create a multi-mesh, but also move around its individual instances. And it's all just one draw call for all 4 of these donuts, right? And you can also like change their colors and stuff. Wait, hold on, not for this one, but for this one, you can. So let's see, example 2, you can change this one to yellow, etc. And you can also hide them uh, and toggle their visibility and stuff like that. You can also set the custom data if you want to through script. And yeah, that's basically manual multi-mesh. Next one, more viewport options. Okay, so this one really right now, it just adds one thing to this menu over here. Sometimes you want to like move the camera to like a very specific place in the viewport and kind of just like see what things look like from there, right? So for example, let's say I want to be that lantern. I want to just see what things look like from the perspective of that lantern. So now I can just go to this menu, click Align View with Transform, and now I am the lantern, right? So I can move up from there. And this isn't the same thing as focusing. Focusing kind of just like puts you, like frames the camera around the object, whereas this option moves the camera to the object, if that makes sense. So I can also be, I don't know, that fishing rod, right? So line view transform, and now I am that fishing rod. Right. So this is also like, a way for you to maybe hop around different spots in the scene that you often want to check out. So you can actually like just author a bunch of transforms in your scene that are just, nodes, and you can just hop to them back and forth to just look at things. So that's that. And okay, 9 patch mesh. This one's actually pretty fun. Um, let's look at crate.scene. Okay, so sometimes when you want to like resize an object, you could just scale it, but then notice how like if it's non-uniform, let's say I want a really tall crate, you can see here that like the top bars become really thick and the side ones become really thin, and that doesn't look really good. So sometimes you want to resize things in the way that you would like a UI element, right? You want the borders to kind of stay consistent. So what you can do here is you can change this to a 9 patch mesh, set the input mesh to the original, and now you can like change, the different settings and this output size and stuff like that as you would like a piece of UI. So you see here that the borders kind of stay consistent as you resize this crate now. And try the same thing with the camping chair. 9 patch mesh. Actually, yeah, I can try a 27 patch mesh. There's a different variant, which allows you to do the same thing, but on 3 separate axes, right? So here I can stretch this chair out so it's more like a couch. I can make it a really tall chair with really long legs. I can make it a really deep chair or very shallow chair. So that's what 9 patch and 27 patch mesh do. Okay, next is parallel scene views. Okay, so parallel scene views, let's see, what should I test this out with? Let's say fishing rod. Okay, so in Unity, you can edit things in context, right? Like I can edit this fishing rod in Unity, like just right here, and see its results apply in the context of this scene. But Godot only allows you to view one scene in 3D at a time. So what this add-on lets you do is I can go to view here and change it to like, a 2 viewport setting, right? And then I can say, uh, wait, oh yeah, this button right here, this parallel scene views. I click that and I can add like a different view to the second viewport. So I can go to places and I can see, oops, ignore all this is spoilers, island. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm sorry about that. Let me hide that UI. Okay, there you go, sorry. All right, so back here, I can go to, I can basically like just fly around the other scene while I'm editing the fishing rod scene, right? So let's say I want to make, let's see, what do I want to do here? Let's say I want to make the tackle bigger. So I just scale the tackle like that, save, and you can see that it instantly applies. So I can just see it in context without having to like, go back and forth between these two things. And this works for like 4 viewports, whatever. You can do that in all of your tabs if you want. So yeah, so that's that one. Preview 2D is very simple. I think you saw it earlier, but basically Godot doesn't really let you see your 2D stuff in 3D in the 3D viewport like in Unity. So this add-on puts a little button over here. So when you click it, you can kind of just preview what your 2D controls look like in the context of your 3D scene. So I got a logo here and a little vignette. So you can toggle that on and off anytime. Procedural texture baker. So that just adds a menu option for you to bake any procedural textures in Godot into like just a flat like pixels texture. Um, so for those of you who don't know, in Godot you can have like all of these textures were generated using Godot's procedural texture system. Like you can have Voronoi noise and stuff like that, like noise texture 2D, gradient texture 2D. You can have world space triplanar mapping and stuff like that. And all of that actually is very expensive to calculate, and it will do that at runtime. Every single time you start your game, it is building that texture from scratch at runtime. So it's not free. So if you have the opportunity, you should bake that. But Godot also doesn't give you an option to just bake that. So this lets you do that essentially. Yeah, that's so let's see here. How do I? Hmm, uh, yeah, sorry, I don't actually have a quick case to show you how exactly to use it. But basically, when you right click on a texture that is procedural, it will have an option in the menu for baking it down to a compressed texture. So that's that add-on. 7-segment display. Okay, this one's kind of super specific, but basically lets you create 7-segment displays. You can tweak a lot of different settings, like all of the stylings, the sizes of everything. So let's see. Segment thickness, segment gap, the corner fill, the side fill, so you can have these different ways for it to look, the slant, stuff like that. And oh yeah, the dimensions, of course. So you can create all of these different looks. You can input it via text. Let's see here. Wait, how am I doing this? How am I doing this? Well, you know what? All the instructions are here. It's been a while. I forgot. But basically, you can set it using a string. You can set it using an integer, or you can set it using like very explicit bit flags. So you can tell it like, just do the bottom one, just do the middle one. So you can do like crazy effects like this, right? And it's all just one mesh. It's not like a texture or anything. So it's very flexible. Yeah, that's 7-segment mesh. Synced collision shape 3D. Okay, I love this one. Okay, so let's say mesh instance 3D. Let's say I want to create a, I don't know, a cylinder, right? If I want to make like a collision shape now for that mesh, it's collision shape 3D. In Unity, it's automatic, right? Like if you scale or move around this thing, like the collision shape will actually automatically match. But let's see, Gizmo, turn on collision shape 3D. Okay. I have to manually create a cylinder shape. So like if I change my cylinder's height, the collision, oh, sorry, that's a parent, my bad. Yeah, so if I change this one, the collision will not automatically change to match it, and that sucks. So what you can do is create, change the type of this node to synced collision shape 3D, and then you just tell it which one to follow, and I will give it the cylinder mesh that I created earlier. So now when I scale this, the collision mesh will automatically be updated. And if I scale it sideways, if I actually like change these settings as well, it will actually like find the best fit for the collision shape as well, just like in Unity, right? And this works for primitive shapes. It works for mesh shapes. It works for, yeah, mesh shapes, collision shapes. There's also an example scene. Oh, I should have just shown you guys this. Oh, I forgot. But yeah, you can make it concave, you can make it convex. This also works at runtime. So if you want to like change your collision shapes at runtime, it will automatically sync that. It's opt-in, so you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Okay, the next one is Tilepath 3D. So this is an add-on which lets you like basically tile a whole bunch of shapes along a path. Um, so like this. And this is great for making fences or paths in the world. I use them for, these paths over here. No district, let's see here. Do I have a path? I do have a path right here. So like I can move this point around like that. Yep, automatically updates the mesh. And it has like tons of different settings, has surface conformity, and yeah, that's that one. And I think the last one is transform clusters. That one is actually kind of, uh, yeah, okay. So sometimes you'll want to move a bunch of objects together, but you don't want them to be parented, right? So for example, here I have some fishing rods on a fishing rod rack, and when I want to move them all together, but I don't want to have to like select all of them every single time just to move them in unison. So what I can do here is I can add a transform cluster, and I can, just add all three of those nodes into this list over here. And so now whenever I move one of them, the rest of them will follow along. And this also allows me to do things like aligning specific parts of them with like other objects. So I can like, align things using this fishing rod or using this fishing rod. And if I ever want to like tweak their relative position to each other, I just uncheck this. And now I can just adjust this one so it's horizontal. Now I can turn it back on. And now I can just align this one again. And this also has an option to work in real time or in editor or neither or both. So yeah, I think that's everything. And as I said earlier, yeah, you can just, the link is in the chat, I believe, up there. If you want to ask me how to use them at any time during the jam, just tag me and